Yeah, they can see that. All right. All right. On 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody, back to the Home Game podcast with Eric and myself. We've been out for a couple of weeks, and it's very difficult to be consistent, but we were going to keep doing our very best and push forward. But today, we do have a very special guest. She is well known in the community. She does a lot of advocating for first-time homeowners. She helps a lot of people with refinances. And we have none other than Emilia Loiza. Help me welcome her to our podcast.
Jerry, thank you so much for welcoming me to your show, which I love. I love every second of it, and I've learned some information as well. So hopefully we all learned something today.
This is gonna be a good episode, I feel.
Oh, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. Yeah.
Emilia represents Loans Direct Funding, which is our mortgage company. Primarily, we want to ask her questions that, based on her experience, she can help you guys navigate through the home buying process. And also for those that are in the industry, you can pick and choose the good and the bad from her. And she's amazing. I call her a rock star because she treats her customers, expert customer service. You need to come to her.
At the end of the day, everyone that I talk to, we become like family. Yeah. The more you can touch their soul, understand where they're coming from, understand their family, their concerns, their children. You get to understand the importance of the dynamic of the transaction, which ends up being not even like a transaction. It just becomes something that is personal to you, to me, in this case, for it to go right. And whatever challenges come up, try to tackle those up front and be able to create that smooth, process that we always want for every single customer.
And that is a great point that you make, Emilia, because one of the things that we as loan originators, we're always looking for that next deal, or we're saying, oh, the lead. Mm-hmm. The reality is these are real people. They have real problems and they have real goals. And
Absolutely.
so what differentiates you from everybody else is what you just stated, is that you treat people like humans.
Thank
With
you.
that being said, we're going to ask you a few questions, and I hope that the audience, I hope you guys are ready, because we're just going to pick her brain here. The first question we have for you is, what do you see that the common mistakes that home buyers do? I know the biggest mistakes that I've seen is like most borrowers, they get like hung up with like, oh, the person that helped my brother, I need to go with them. And they don't shop, or they do things like that.
Yeah.
That's one of the mistakes that I see. But what have you seen in your career path, the times that you've been doing loans, like the common mistakes that potential home buyers make?
Well, one of the biggest ones that I've seen, I see that they get super excited because they want to buy a house, right? And the first thing they do is they start looking at homes. They start shopping, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's probably one of the things that maybe starts the fire within you, to want to buy a house, which is that's a really good thing. However, how are you going to go to look for a house when you don't even know how much you qualify for? That's one of the biggest mistakes that I see, is that you should always talk to your financial lender, a professional, someone. And how do you find one? Well, there's different ways, besides, coming here to us. I mean, we can always help you.
We have a website, www.loansdirectfunding.com. You guys can apply.
That's right.
And we'll pair you with the right loan originator.
That's right. And we can help you with that. We'll tell you the ins and outs of your credit, what the steps are for you to qualify. But that's the number one mistake that I see from buyers right now, is that they get the cart before the horse. Right. As they say, know where your numbers are at so that you can budget, and what your other expenses are going to be, like utilities, any repairs are going to be needed, because all of that fits within that financial budget frame that you need to be, well versed when you are looking for a house. Right. Another mistake could be like, let's say you get the bid, and then you're so anxious, you want to win the bid against another competitor, and you forego things on the house. Maybe you don't want to do an inspection on the house, which I think that is another mistake. I think it's very important, no matter what the negotiation of the contract is going to be, it's important that you know what you're stepping into. You know, it's multiple times I've closed with people, even after we've done home inspection and we've asked the seller to do repairs, they do them. However, something always happens. Something
So,
always comes up.
Great point that you just mentioned this. One of the biggest things that I also want people to know is that expect there being issues with the property, because you're
Always.
paying for a home inspector, and the home inspector is not going to give you a clean report saying, "Oh, hey, thanks for paying me. By the way, there's nothing wrong with the property." It's not
Right.
how it works. You're paying them so they can do their best due diligence, which is why we have a lot of respect for home inspectors,
Right.
because they do a great job to
Nooks and
let you
crannies.
know,
Yeah.
that you're getting the best habitable property that you can get.
Another major mistake that I've seen there and that I highly advise my borrowers against is financing another vehicle. It's because that easily takes down your price point a good 50 to 75,000 for purchase power. Your car breaks down. So what do you do now? Do you fix it or do you buy another one? Write your mom's card, write somebody's card. I mean, do something, find other solutions. Yeah, find other transportation, take the bus, take the light rail. There's a lot of different ways to get from from point A to point B. Do what you can, because do you want to live in your car or do you want to live in your house?
And I'm also going to add running your credit continuously. I know purchasing a car, I mean, these are life problems that happen. But also, you don't want to go and buy furniture on credit while you're in the process.
Definitely no.
Like, make sure that you have the keys to the house and that it's been recorded under your name before you go out and do these things. It really never happens to me because I'm great at what I do and I advise my customers from the beginning.
Of course,
but I've seen it from other people
Yes.
that they tell me that, hey, they don't qualify anymore, Jerry. Can you help them?
Yeah.
Because they went and did this, they went and did that because they were not advised.
Right.
Great points that you make, Emilia.
And one of the last points that I'm going to give you is people that stop saving. You cannot save enough. Trust me. You have to continue to save money all the time. Even if you got the offer, even after you know how much money is needed, you're always going to be needing money, whether it's for your repairs or for furniture, utility deposits that you need, moving costs, anything. And trust me, once you have a house, things are going to pop up, and it's not savings just for now. It's not for the next 30 days. It's for life. Get into the habit of, putting away 10 to 15% from your paycheck every month and have that as a discipline because you're going to need that money later.
Now, we have more questions for you.
All right. Go ahead.
Well, I think I want to preface this question
Yeah.
by asking you, when did you start doing mortgages? When did you get into this industry?
I got into it first in the blink of an eye between 1999 and 2001. Got back into it in 2005 and never left. It's been a fun ride. So.
When would you say during your career, what point of your career have you seen the most competitive markets, and what advice would you have to give?
From what I recall, there were 2 times that I saw that there was a very competitive market. That was before the recession, when we had really creative financing solutions. When I was going through the recession, I was working at a bank, at a large national bank, and there were people that would come to the bank and turn in their keys because they they couldn't afford to make the payments anymore, and they were dealing with loans that were
Predatory at the time.
Predatory lending, higher rates, and interest only or negative amortization, meaning they were not paying towards principal at all.
Yeah, right. There was a lot of funky loan programs that they don't necessarily exist anymore. We don't want to scare anybody because now you have to qualify with what's called a qualified mortgage.
Right.
In order to be able to. So we do a lot of tests that people don't see that stop us from being able to lend to somebody if we're charging you too much money, if the rate doesn't fit the parameters. There's a lot of things that are in place to protect you, the consumer.
Absolutely.
And us as well, because we want to do good business. And because of that, we all end up benefiting the rewards, but mostly the customer.
Absolutely. When a customer can feel it too. Now in the 2015, 16, 17 range, there were a lot of skeptical clients, mainly because I was now seeing the spouses purchasing the property because the main breadwinner had foreclosed or had a short sale. They couldn't do a loan. And so there was a lot of skepticism as to what kind of loan are you going to be? I want to fix. I don't want a variable anymore, because they had scars, know. And so there was a lot of retraining that I had to do for myself as to how to speak to customers and help them understand that what I'm putting them is something safe, secure, long term, 30 years, no messing around. And with the 3-day, the CD being created, that also helped a lot, putting the trust back into lending,
Right.
for the people to know that, okay, you're going to get to see your numbers 3 days ahead of time. Not like in the old days where you're like,
Sign
okay,
here and
sign
or
here,
you
and this
you don't
is
get
what-
anything.
Right.
This next question kind of is along the same lines. What trend are you seeing right now in your local market that buyers should know about?
Well, the trend is that I'm seeing that homes are on average in the market between 52 to 60 days on the market, which makes it more favorable for the buyer in terms of negotiating. So I'm in the Glendale area, and that's about the average time frame that I'm seeing more houses. The longer the house stays on the market, the more flexibility or negotiation power you have with the seller. As far as, paying for your closing costs, making certain repairs, upgrading certain things that you want in the house to be done. It's definitely a buyer's market at this time. And I'm always asked, like, what is a good time? When is a good time to buy? And I say, today. It's always good. It's always a good time to buy because you can't lose with real estate.
Right.
And I mean, another thing about the market is just seeing what the trends are in that particular neighborhood. I highly advise that you work with your realtor because they will be able to see, based on the time frame that the houses are in the neighborhood, whether they will be able to negotiate or not. Some neighborhoods, perhaps in the Paradise Valley area or in the Central Phoenix areas, or somewhere more centralized, maybe a little bit harder to negotiate with because it is centralized, Whereas in the outskirts, there are some homes that are going short sale or that are starting to be foreclosed because they're just not, the people that moved out there got the house for a great price. Maybe they got a great rate, but the commute is killing them. Or things that, to get to their families, which are more in the city, it's just harder, And so for various reasons, houses out in the outskirts, I see that those are trending a little bit lower than the more in the city.
But
Right.
great point that you made about short sales, because right now
Yeah.
you're throwing a lot of terminology, and I don't think our listeners will really know what that means. But I'm trying to pick and
Google
choose. ChatGPT it.
Hey, with so much information available at our fingertips, it's just a matter of you don't even have to spell it right. It'll just guess.
Yeah, you don't have to
You
spell
can-
it all. You can just
That's true.
talk into
You
it.
can just say it, and then it will guess,
tell
and it
you
will
the
tell you
answer.
a short sale is blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
Exactly. But you gotta have more faith in our audience. They're a lot smarter than we think.
Well,
too.
true. Well, thank you.
Yes. Even winning bids in a market, where you are in a competitive environment, maybe some ways to win the bid would be maybe waiving or shortening the term of the inspection period. Just to let them know how eager you are to buy the house.
Right.
Another thing, maybe you want to offer 2 or 3% down towards the contract, as opposed to the traditional 1%.
And that's a process that your realtor or your salesperson who's helping you purchase a house, they're going to talk to you about something called earnest money. And earnest money, look at it as like a handshake between you and the seller, agreeing that you will purchase that property off of them. In addition to that, I'm going to throw my 2 cents in
Go for it.
because
Yes.
because I do see that there are customers out there, home buyers, that are looking for every bell and whistle. And if it's your first house, I always tell my customers, love the house enough where you can keep it for like 3 to 5 years. And as you build equity, as you're paying down the principal, as you're saving more money, maybe buy that dream home that you want.
Yes.
Like, don't automatically off of the gate expect, I want my dream home and I want a pool and I want a balcony and I want this and I want that, because you may not get that, or you're going to have to wait a long period of time. I'm going to share an example.
Yeah.
I had a customer who was on the brink of buying a property back in 2012. Properties were $100,000.
Yeah, they're very cheap.
She said, I'm not buying it because it doesn't have what I want. Well, fast forward 3 years, that same property was worth $250. She priced herself out of the
Yeah.
market. So you can have rapid explosions in value at any given time.
Right.
And because of that, I told her, maybe be more open-minded when you're looking at a property, because you don't want to miss out on the opportunity. When there's opportunities in front of you, you don't know that they're opportunities until you look back and say, oh my God, that was a good opportunity. Why didn't I do it?
Right.
Sometimes you just have to do it.
Yeah, it's that gut feeling, right?
Yes.
That you have to definitely trust it, because it is, a lot of times that gut feeling is correct.
Yeah.
It's correct. And then, like I said, you're not going to lose with real estate. Maybe it takes time. It's like a high investment, in the stock market, that you put in. Yeah, there's going to be rivers and valleys where you're going up and down. However, if you're playing it right on the market, you want to, buy or stay with the house, because eventually it will be worth more money.
Possibly. So you said you cannot lose. You could lose on real estate. Because if we had another 2008, people lost a lot. So we don't want to make it oh my God, this is the best deal forever. No, there's always going to be risk involved. But what's the alternative? You're purchasing the property. It's your property.
It is your house.
Even if the market does this and you sell at the lowest point, well, you know what? You probably get some of the money back that you put into it. When you rent, the landlord is not going to give you that money that you paid 3 years ago. Absolutely. It just doesn't work that way.
Right.
So, and when you purchase a house, for some people that make more money, it could be used as a tax write-off as well, the interest that you pay. So if you're in a high tax bracket, you buy a house, you're paying interest towards it, well, guess what? You just drop the different level on that tax bracket. I'm not a tax attorney. Seek your own tax information or advice. But based on our experience, this is what we see.
Yeah.
So what would you recommend somebody that's on the fence right now, that is probably not finding the right property that they want? What advice could you give them if they're on the fence of buying, but they're more leaning towards not purchasing?
I guess my question to that buyer would be, what is stopping you from making that decision? Sometimes it could be family. It could be the kids. Sometimes they're so influential towards the parents that are like, I don't want to move from my local school or my friends. And, and I got to say, I raised 5 kids. Kids are resilient. If you got to move because of work, you got to move, and that's just something that happens. And kids are always going to find friends,
Yes.
It's just.
That's a great point that you made in regards to who you're getting advice from.
Yeah.
If it's your parents saying, no, don't buy, it's too much of a payment and this and that and this and that, you kind of have to go with what Emilia said earlier, your gut instinct, because you're not your parents,
right.
And sometimes you're getting advice from people that may not want to see you succeed. I mean, let's just be honest.
That happens too. Sometimes family is a little bit jealous, Sometimes they don't want to see you have a bigger, better, nicer house in a neighborhood that's so desirable, But you do have to do whatever is right for your family, for yourself, for your commute.
And for yourself. You have to think about yourself, because before you start, I've had a lot of people where they said, no, my dad said that rates are going to come down later. Or my dad said that prices are going to come down, then they go up. It's like, dude, your dad's been wrong 4 times. When are you going to start making decisions for yourself?
Well, and then what I also do is I put it in perspective. Let's say, okay, you want to wait today? Let's look at this house. Let's monitor it, right? Today it's $300,000. All right. Knowing that the home values are increasing in value, maybe 3 to 5%. Next year, that home is now going to be $303,000 or $310,000. Right. What is the difference in payment for that difference? If it goes up, if it goes up to $350,000, now you're paying another extra $100 a month. So putting those things in perspective, and seeing, okay, well, what is going to be my final cost? With waiting, it's the cost of waiting that really it is. That I think, to me, determines whether you should buy now or buy later, so. And
that's a great point again. So for somebody that's been in the industry for a very long time, I always tell people, just buy a house. Why?
Yeah.
I tell them, when you rent, if the landlord evicts you, you have to leave. You're being evicted. You have 30 days to move out, right?
Yeah.
Whereas when you're purchasing, now I'm not saying for everybody to do this, but these things do exist, is the bank does not want you to leave the property to them. So they'll give you 60, 90 days to work things out with them. They're not going to kick you out in 30 days like a landlord would.
That's true.
So you can go without making payments. So there's still things that a bank can do to help you stay in the property, such as sometimes they'll do, they'll put the
There's
payments.
still modifications that are out there.
There's still modifications, correct.
Yeah.
What's a modification? It's where there's a change in the original terms.
Mm-hmm.
So they can put the 3 months that you were late, they'll put them in the back of the loan.
Right.
It's called a forbearance agreement.
Right.
So there's these things that exist that people don't know and we don't share with them, because we expect people to be responsible and make the payments on time and whatnot. But
Correct.
these things do exist where they still give you time to figure it out.
They do. I mean, modifications have come along very, very far from the times when the recession happened. Everyone was kind of just running an application blind, and it was just a tough time to get a modification approved because of all of those thousands and thousands of applications that were reviewed and modified or denied. Today, the standards for doing a modification are much different. They're a lot faster, more streamlined. And, a lot of times you can get an answer within the month instead of waiting 4 months or 3 months.
And we're not sponsored at all by a servicing company. But if you are facing challenges in your mortgage payment, you're already a homeowner, reach out to your servicing company. They'll work with you. They'll talk to you.
Yes.
They'll give you options. The worst thing you can do is ignore.
Yes.
Don't ignore them.
Don't ignore
Call them right away.
Yep.
Let them know what's going on. They'll come up with a solution for you.
Absolutely. Within the documents that you signed, there's a 2-page section or 3-page section that has the nonprofits that are available for you to be able to get assistance from. Go back to your documents. If you are struggling for whatever reason, maybe credit issues, maybe it's not the house, but you are struggling with other things financially, you can seek assistance through a nonprofit for free and talk to them and see how you can rework your numbers, do yourself the budget. Maybe you need to get another job. Maybe you need to ask for a raise, so that you can get yourself back on track. But there are those resources, and that is within your paperwork of the 10 nonprofits that can help you with that.
And that's a great question, because one thing that's for certain, even after you buy a house, is that life is going to happen.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times, like, there's divorces, there's kids that leave for college. There's a lot of things that people pass away.
Or illnesses,
Illnesses. So if you're going through something like that, give us a call. We may have a solution for you. You can call Emilia, you can call Eric, you can call myself, call our company. Go online to our website, www.loansdirectfunding.com. Fill out the application, and we'll reach out to one of you guys or to you. And that way you can tell us what scenario you're going through, and we will be more than happy to guide you.
I actually have a client that reached out to me. She purchased her house 7 years ago, and she's like, I need help. I need to pay all my bills. I said, okay. Well, unfortunately, her credit is not the best, and even if she were to have one of her children help her, she wasn't really keen on involving anyone else. And I said, well, the other option is if you want to sell. You have plenty of equity. And so she thought about it, and I gave her a suggestion as far as an alternative type of home to buy instead of the single family home. She's going to choose to buy something smaller that's just more adequate for her. And that is ultimately what she decided to do. She's going to sell the house and buy the next one cash, which to me, I'm happy if she's happy. Right. She has a family. I know that because they know and they got that suggestion, we talk, I will be able to help their family, So it's, working with me is I'm not transactional. I'm very relationship, I want to find solutions for you and your family and the extended friends and family that you have. So.
And for those of you listening that want to be mortgage loan originators or are already mortgage loan originators, listen to what she just said. She's not transactional. And that's what separates the great people from like the ones that are not going to make it in our industry. It's like you really have to care for the people that are on the other side of the phone or on the other side of the table.
Absolutely. That's what we're here for. I mean, I even get calls on, hey, I need an electrician. You know, I'm like the resource girl, you know, or I'm going to do my quinceañera shoot. I know a good cake lady. I know a Brinca Brinca company. I mean, I know all kinds of resources.
And Emilia speaks English and Spanish, for those of you that didn't catch that. So
Yes,
we
yes.
we cater to English and Spanish speaking customers.
Yeah, so hablo español, así es que hablo en su idioma. Si tiene algunas dudas, no sabe qué quiere hacer con si compra o si quiere hacer algún trámite, estamos aquí para ayudarle. Y como le digo, bueno, todo lo dije en inglés, ¿verdad? Pero yo no soy una persona de transacción, sino que más de relación. Me gusta saber de la dinámica de la familia y me gusta entender un poco más de la situación para poder ayudarle mejor.
What else do you think makes a good, relationship with your clients? What other tidbits would you have for other loan officers? So they
Helping them in any way, unconditionally, giving them suggestions, I think, and giving them a place of where to go.
Emilia, if one of our listeners wants to reach out to you, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, they can reach out to me on my cell, 602-550-1017, 602-550-1017. I also have a website, www.homeloansbyemilia.com. And you'll see my website there, and you can put an inquiry, and I'll reach out to you the same day. As far as other ways to work with your clients, if you speak the language, use it. There's loan officers there that are a little bit timid about using their Spanish because maybe they grew up around Spanish-speaking families, but they haven't used it. Well, get to learn it, because that will right there will give you maybe 20-25% more business. And we are in a high majority minority state, so.
And it's okay to speak Spanglish.
Yes, it is.
If you don't know it, that's English and Spanish at the same time.
And you know what? The Latinos are very forgiving. They know that you're making an effort, Yeah. And because of that effort that you're making, they're more forgiving. They are more grateful. They're more grateful because they know that you're making an effort to try to help them in their language as well.
So what final thought would you give those people that are watching us here, our viewers, and or those that are want to be originators, maybe are on the fence, and even the consumers that are watching that are, hey, maybe I want to talk to Emilia, maybe I'm looking to do something with my property. Like, what would be your final thought for them?
Wow, that's a big ask. Well, as a loan officer, if you are seriously thinking about this career, I don't think it's just a job. I don't think it's something that you do Monday through Friday. It's a lifetime commitment, not to just yourself, but to your customers as well. So, and it's a very rewarding. I'm not just talking about financially. It is very handsomely rewarding. When you put the hours, you put your commitment in there, it will always be there. But also to yourself, to your soul, for helping a family get into a house and be in a secure place for their children to grow up. And at least for me, that is very fulfilling as a loan officer. As a client, if you are looking or you're on the fence, I would say don't delay, buy today, because
You sound like a rapper.
That's a good slogan.
Hey, I just thought of that right now. That's just these things just come. Don't delay, buy today. Because money, the value, the home values are going to be there. Yes, they may go down. Yes, they may go up. It's just like anything. When the eggs went up to $10 a carton. Did you not eat eggs? Yeah, you still ate eggs, right?
Yeah, my household didn't eat eggs, by the way.
You know what I mean? But it boils down to the necessity. Yeah. If gas is going to cost $6 a gallon, where right now it's $3.99, $4 a gallon, you still need to go to work. You still need to use your car, and you need gas. So do that thing that is going to make you, focus, get your mind in gear, budget, save, and take that next step, and that's the next step into your next milestone in life, because ultimately you're doing something right for yourself and for your family, which is going to help you create that wealth for you in the future. So that's my little tidbit.
Well, thank you for your final thoughts. Eric, any final thoughts?
Thank you, Emilia, for coming on here.
Oh, my pleasure.
Maybe next episode we can get into more personal stuff, more fun stuff. But it's always fun
Of
picking your
course,
brain.
yes.
I feel like you always have very good advice, and it's very true. You're not transactional. Like you hear it just when you're speaking on the phone with your customers. You're very relationship based.
Yeah.
We love that you represent our company because without
I
you,
love it.
we're just a regular company. With you, we're also just a regular company. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, wow.
You make us better. So thank you for the time commitment and just you being around here with us. You really inspire us to be better. So thank you. Thank you for taking the opportunity to spend time with us today. And for Eric and myself, we thank you for listening to us and watching us. All three of you that are out there. So thank you. And I hope you guys took a little bit of a lot of what we said here today and apply it towards your life. So thank you so much. And you guys have a wonderful evening.